Back in the spring of 2006, I traveled to a remote region of Azad, Kashmir, in northern Pakistan with a group of 12 New York City paramedics who were making a return trip 6 months after the earthquake there that killed 73,000 people. I expected to see suffering, and I did. What I had absolutely no idea that I would experience was the number of people who were living in cardboard boxes and wanted to give us their last cup of cooked rice. Or how much fun one blonde, blue-eyed woman could have in a sweltering grass tent with 50 Urdu-speaking moms and their little kids, and no props but a couple of oranges and a pair of Ray-Bans. That was the revelation. After a couple of weeks, we saw 2,500 patients in the first 5 days. People were in real trouble. And when I got back to the States, I did what I do. I was the top writer at People magazine with a weekly readership of 43 million. And I got a 6-page story on Azad, Kashmir in People magazine, which was no small feat. I was also surprised at how well received it was. We were on CNN, and Anderson and all that. Everybody loved it. And it was a real disappointment to me to really come face to face and confront the idea that it really wasn't going to happen again, because mainstream media covers initiatives and causes and political threats and situations, but the one thing that it doesn't cover almost ever is real compelling storytelling on real human beings in the remote parts of the so-called third world. So, I quit Time Incorporated after 32 years, 2 years ago, and created MiWorld.com. A lot of thought went into it. And I thought, how can we make this thing happen realistically? Well, let's use available technology. This is a little flip digicam owned by Cisco. Cisco bought it for $590 million about 3 years ago. And the cool thing about these is that they don't require any inherent tech infrastructure. Problems of censorship and stuff doesn't really apply to this. You can give this to a kid who's backpacking in Nepal. All you have to do is click that little button, and you can both power up and upload an hour's worth of broadcast quality content from these things. So I thought, well, what if we got these little cameras into the hands of 1.6 million NGOs working around the world, who know the lay of the land and the language and all that stuff? And what do they want more than anything in the world? They want to get their stories out. But they can't, because there's been such a decimation of media. And I thought, well, if we did that, and we did these fabulous stories like P.T. Barnum, just get the folks into the tent, then we can put in links to anything. NGOs, initiatives, corporations, you name it. Anything except hatred, violence, and prejudice, because that's being covered elsewhere. We don't need that on MiWorld. So then I learned that the dollar amount of small donor, median $50 hits, charitable contributions every year in the United States is in the neighborhood of $220 billion. A lot of that's strictly religious, a lot of it's domestic. So what? It's a revenue stream worth paying attention to. And I thought, well, what if you read a story about a little kid in the Double Joy AIDS Orphanage in Banda, Western Kenya, and she's wearing a little party dress, and then she was wearing some beat-up gunboat shoes that didn't really fit her, and for the first time ever, you could one-click a wholesale pair of Target.com baby shoes. So this little girl, her village, the NGOs. What if you really created something like that? What if you could monetize the site that way by involving corporations who have long-term slogans like the Human Network, or Just Do It, or I'd like to teach the world to sing, and bring them into this global platform. And what you would give them for their advertising dollars is a global wholesale outlet for appropriate goods and services, global coverage of worthy CSR initiatives, everything that we've been discussing this morning. You can give them presence in emerging markets, and you can get their branding known all around the world in a very positive way. So this made sense to me. How do we actualize it? Well, this is what it looks like. You can go into the site one of two ways, and this is all malleable. This is just what we did, for the great design team. You can pick a place in the world. I'm sorry this isn't live, but if you see it on the beta site, it's pretty cool. These are stills. Sandra's journey. See the Coca-Cola logo? Her journey is brought to you by the Coca-Cola company. Stories have beginning, middles, and ending. That's what stories are. But in this case, we can link to 8 other stories. We call these in the people parlance the sidebars. You've got your lead and your sidebars. This just covers every possible angle that you could want to know. Women's issues, the local guy, the teacher who has a cultural anthropology degree and speaks Quiche, and he had to work for 8 years as a window washer in D.C. This is a video screen wall that we have. These are related projects, volunteerism, anything you want to know. That's a CSR project by Coke for water development. And if you want to go in solely by issues, then you can go into a separate track. And this is health, women's issues, education, maybe solar, whatever. And the all-important social networking component lets you create your own MiWorld. You can connect corporations, projects, NGOs, people, friends, whatever you want. That's how it works. What do we need to start it? We need $4 million. Once. I don't need skyscrapers or airplanes or anything else. It's a website. But what I do need is absolutely top-tier talent. CFOs. We need to have corporate liaison people, NGO coordination. I need a college intern wrangler for all these kids who want to work for this thing already. And if we can get that initial seed funding from gifts, philanthropic sources, grants, what that's going to do is free up the money that we make from advertising revenues and after-tax profits to be turned into sustainable development in the third world, building schools and hospitals, working with the kind of people who are here. It's just this revenue stream. It's sort of like Robin Hood, except we're not stealing from the rich, we're giving them a global advertising platform at a time when there's an absolute decimation of traditional advertising methods. Is the world ready for MiWorld? You may have heard that a few months ago, there was another huge internet portal started, 64-page global internet magazine aimed at English-speaking audiences in the developed world. It's called Enlightenment. It's published by Al-Qaeda, and the lead story on the front page of the premiere issue is how to build a bomb in your mother's kitchen. At the same time, I am receiving fan mail from all around the world, places like Sudan and Nepal and Guatemala. Here's one. Dear Susan, my heartiest wish for the success of MiWorld.com, and I shall eagerly wait that to be launched. Everybody wants to publish a nice story of a billionaire's success, but very few like you, Susan, thinks about the plight of those who uses their human energy and struggles every day for the piece of some bread. Thank you for your moral support to the struggle again, Susan. Regards, Vishnish, the rickshaw pullers of Delhi. 3 billion people are trying to say hello to us, and I think MiWorld is a really shiny, happy, great, fresh new way to say hello back. In closing, I'll share with you my favorite slogan for the last 2 years from the writer Sarah Van Renham. She says, the world needs dreamers and the world needs doers, but what the world really needs are dreamers who do. Thank you.